Everyone. Welcome to our webinar tonight. I just see the numbers going up and up and up. This is great. We are starting really promptly at 7 p.m. EST. I'm coming to you live from Fort Langley in British Columbia at 4 p.m. EST. It's been a beautiful day today. I went for a bike ride this morning. It was awesome. Hope everyone's having a great day. For those people that are returning guests, thank you so much for returning and listening to me once again. I hope to see some familiar names pop up in the chat today. If you don't mind, the people that are listening, if you just go to the chat and just say like, hey, I can hear you fine, I can see you. Can someone just do that for me? It would be great. Lisa, thank you. Aaron, thank you. Lily, thank you. Lucy, Trisha, Doris, Ashley, Montarica, Serena. Yeah, thank you so much for confirming that you can hear me. This is wonderful. All right, all right, let's get started. Thank you so much for coming. We are talking about stress and hormones tonight. And as you can see on the topic or on the front page here, it says bringing balance back to your body. And so we're going to talk about that, and you're going to walk away tonight with some really amazing tips to start implementing on the daily. So thanks to Healthy Planet for having me, and CanPrev. Also, thank you for allowing me to speak on a topic that's really near and dear to my heart. As someone that deals with, as a business owner and as a parent and as a husband and as a person, as a son and a brother, like there's a lot of moving pieces to my life. So I have made a lot of changes that will be reflected tonight that you can also use as well. So just want to take a moment and acknowledge that I'm presenting this information to you on the unceded land of the Coast Salish peoples. That's who was in my area. If you don't know whose land you are living on, I'd encourage you to figure it out and learn. It's always great to learn new things about the area that you live in. Fun fact, the Fraser River that I live right next to wasn't always the Fraser River. It was called the Stolo River. And so I really appreciated that tidbit of information that I learned about a month ago, especially as something that I've lived next to for a better part of a year now. So let's get started. Someone tonight will be walking away with this prize pack, and we will draw a lucky winner and email that person tonight. So check your emails, or I shouldn't say, maybe not tonight, but you will be emailed, notified by email if you win this prize. So who am I? Yeah, so I'm Dr. Rory Gibbons. I'm a licensed naturopathic doctor in British Columbia. I am father of 2 little boys. They keep me busy for sure. I love functional nutrition. That's probably why I'm speaking on these topics tonight, because we're talking about nutrients and herbs. I love learning how we can use diet and lifestyle to optimize our biochemistry. What I've done out here in BC is I've actually started implementing a lot of habit coaching into my practice. So I'm blending the art of medicine and health coaching, and I'm getting amazing, faster results for my patients. I'm also, some little tidbits, I'm a speaker, obviously. I'm a husband, father, cyclist, I'm an at-home chef, and I'm an avid Star Wars fan. Can't wait for the next Star Wars series to come out. Pretty pumped about that. So let's talk about questions, okay? So no doubt people are gonna have questions. Please use the Q&A box as much as possible for questions. Okay, we'll do our best to get through those ones, and then if there are any left over in the chat box, we'll try to get to those ones, but the Q&A box will be priority. We have someone on the back end. Her name is Alex. She's helping us out tonight with questions, and so she'll be responding to them as the presentation goes along. So again, please use the Q&A box in the bottom of your screen. Lastly, any information that I talk about tonight, strictly for educational purposes. It is absolutely not medical information, so please don't take that and run with it. It's for education purposes only, and you're going to learn a lot of stuff. So I'm excited for you. So what you learned today, bunch of great stuff about hormones and how we can essentially facilitate healthy function and production of said hormones. But More specifically, we're going to gain an understanding of how hormones take priority over other hormones in times of stress. Okay, so thinking about our stress hormones and how they will monopolize the production over other sex hormones. Learn what balancing hormones really means. Balancing hormones, we've heard that term before. Learn daily practices to support hormone production. And we're going to also explore the uses of herbs and nutrients when supporting our hormonal cascade. Okay, so let's talk about stress, which is the main character in this presentation tonight. No doubt we've heard about stress in the media. Stress this, causing more stress this year. COVID, main source of stress for people. Well, nothing has changed. So sympathetic versus parasympathetic nervous system. This is, let's talk about what these things are in regards to stress, okay? So when we experience some sort of stress, we go into a sympathetic response, okay? This is the classic fight or flight situation. We have all experienced this where a sudden threat has embarked on us, okay? It could be a physical threat or even a fictional threat like a movie, right? Our blood pressure rises, our heart beats faster, and we get ready to run or fight. The opposite of this, the parasympathetic nervous system, this is a rest and digest state. And so as humans, we are actually inherently supposed to be in a state of parasympathetic functioning. Think about that for a second. However, we are not in that state due to things like jobs, societal pressures, social norms, taking out the garbage, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we are not just needing to survive by hunting and gathering, right? Just going to check the chat box, make sure everything's okay there. Great. Okay, very cool. Let's move on. Chronic stress versus acute stress. So chronic stress, people kind of know this word, right? It's chronic. It's like always happening. Chronic means long-standing, right? So chronic stress means long-standing elevations of stress, okay? So for example, a job that is really constantly making you feel uneasy, anxious, or some other form of mental taxation. This could also be a physically taxing job. That is a chronic stress on your body, okay? Versus an acute stress, which is a short bout of high stress designed to get you out of a stressful situation. Body is designed to deal with these stressful situations beautifully. Okay, we have that innate pathways already locked in. Okay? It's the chronic stress that will wear us down until we burn out. Okay, and when we start going down that train, that road to burnout, we start getting these other symptoms like anxiety, depression, tired all the time, like digestive upset. We start like resenting our coworkers. We start resenting our jobs. Like these are all characteristics of burnout. Main hormones at work here that we're talking about, the stress hormones, cortisol and adrenaline. Okay, so cortisol is one thing. And then adrenaline is also known as epinephrine and norepinephrine. So you might have recognized this word epinephrine. That is in an EpiPen, okay, that is used for anaphylactic reactions. This is an acute fix to an anaphylactic allergic reaction. Okay, so it's the same thing. But we secrete that, right, when we're under stress. Before we move on, let's talk about okay, what's a hormone? Let's define it, okay? A substance produced in a gland, like an adrenal gland or testes or ovaries, that is released into the blood to act on other cells in the body to activate/inactivate them, all right? Turns on and off cells and their functions. Okay, so here are some examples of a hormone: cortisol, aldosterone, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, insulin, and epinephrine and norepinephrine. They kind of live in this middle ground between neurotransmitters and hormones because they both work in the nervous system, but they both work in the hypothalamic pituitary axis. All right, so these guys are released at the end of nerves, but they're also released from glands as well. So example of not a hormone, GABA, gamma aminobutyric acid, which is a inhibitory neurohormone in the brain, dopamine, serotonin. These are all like mood hormones or mood neurotransmitters. So they are not hormones. So we are speaking about these guys over here today. any hormone presentation would not be complete without a hormone cascade. Okay. So this is a very simplified diagram of hormone creation. Okay. So these are considered mother hormones or main hormones. Okay. So we have this thing called DHEA, which goes into these other bigger molecules, which are then created, which then create other things like progesterone, estrogens, testosterone. Okay. On these arrows, there are numerous other molecules and numerous other things that can help push the pathway this way or push the pathway the opposite way, right? So we don't need to really, whoops, sorry about that. Hey. My mouse has a little trackpad on top, which is going to be distracting. So we don't need to know about the molecules that are happening in the middle. Okay, we don't really need to know that. We just need to know and understand that there are certain pathways that create certain hormones. All right, so here's one pathway that produces progesterone when it's stimulated. Here's another pathway that produces cortisol when it's stimulated. Here's another pathway that produces testosterone when it's stimulated, and also for estrogen. This is an interesting one. Testosterone goes to estrogen. Yeah, that can happen. So we are talking about stress tonight. Okay, so let's look at where cortisol lives. See how it's like it's mixed in with these estrogen, with these sex hormones. So there's no doubt that stress can have an effect on things sex hormone related. Okay, so repeated stress events, chronic stress, causes the cortisol pathway right here to become dominant, which then causes a maladaptation of the hypothalamic pituitary axis, which is the signals from the brain to the glands, in this case, the adrenal gland, okay? Hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. So it goes, stimulates the adrenal gland to pump out cortisol, pump out cortisol, pump out cortisol, pump out cortisol. And when you're chronically stressed, then this pathway takes priority over the other pathways. It doesn't steal away things, okay? It just takes priority. So sex hormones made in the ovaries and testes, and depending on the level of cortisol and insulin in the blood, the types of estrogen and testosterone can change to more potent versions. Okay, estrone and dihydrotestosterone, which is coming down here. Okay, therefore giving effects of estrogen dominance, such as hair growth, abdominal fat, acne in females, abdominal fat, or said abdominal fat, breast formation in men, and also hair loss in males. So this estrogen dominance pattern can happen in both people, okay? And so when you are higher levels of cortisol and higher levels of insulin in the blood, then more estrone and more dihydrotestosterone can be created. Okay. So what causes that? Inflammation, okay, is caused by the levels of cortisol and insulin. Those drive the changes. Other things, alcohol, big one. Just on the topic of estrogen dominance, okay, estrogen dominant conditions include premenstrual syndrome, endometriosis, ovarian cysts, uterine fibroids, cystic breasts, heavy periods, and hormonal acne. And also some people, some literature out there says like it can be a cause of infertility, but we're going to talk about that in a moment. That's more of a PCOS thing that we're going to talk about. But before we do that, let's talk about mitochondria. So let's take you all the way back to Science 9, maybe Science 10, I don't know. But mitochondria are these tiny little organelles right here that live in the cells, every cell. It's a powerhouse of the cell, and it produces something called ATPs, or adenosine triphosphate, which is literally the energy cell or energy molecule in our body, okay? So we should probably help those little guys, right? And so in this case, mitochondria really integral effect on the hormone production. It's just an incredibly important piece of biology to support, like in all times of life, especially in conception, because sperms have a lot of mitochondria, and same with ovarian eggs for sure. Let's keep these guys happy. I'm going to talk about some nutrients that will do that. A lot of research is actually coming out on the health, the effect of mitochondrial health on longevity. Very interesting stuff. So, hormonal impact on male fertility. Okay. So even though if you're listening tonight and you're like, so I'm not really like, I'm a male, but I don't really need help with fertility. Like, this is still important because your fertility, your level of fertility, or how fertile you are, or also known as how good your sperm are, is a great marker of overall health. Let's just set the stage for the topic of fertility tonight. Okay, it's relevant to everybody. Testosterone support. So when it comes to male fertility, it's really all about the sperm function and quality and number. Okay, so as listed here, testosterone is in charge of the number of sperm and the action of conception, which is the erectile function and libido. Mitochondria is in charge of how powerful the engine of the sperm is. Okay, there's lots of mitochondria in each little sperm. So that's a really important piece. And the level of antioxidant activity, that's responsible for the shape and quality of the sperms. So keeping in mind these qualities, we are going to talk about what we can do to support those things through diet, through lifestyle, and through nutrition and herbals. Hormonal impact on female fertility. So fertility is not just about the egg, okay? So like fertility is all about the sperm for men. Okay, so we need to support the body's ability to produce progesterone and estrogen at the right time, as well as making sure this person is ovulating, i.e. the egg is coming down. If hormones are imbalanced, this can affect the ovulation day and regularity. So therefore, menstrual regularity is an important factor to make sure that window of ovulation is occurring, right? So progesterone needed for development of the secondary uterine lining, okay, i.e. holding the embryo in the wall of the uterus in these first moments and days of conception. And I've said here, uterine hospitality. Okay, so if we don't have adequate levels of progesterone, it doesn't develop that thicker lining in the uterus for that embryo to implant and embed and fall in love with its home. Okay, so that being said, low progesterone can be a contributor to miscarriages. So if someone you know has had miscarriages and haven't had their progesterone tested, this is something that could be very, very helpful. And this is something that naturopathic doctors can do. Actually, I'm sorry, I don't know if Ontario, you can prescribe progesterone. I'm sorry, I don't know the scope, but in BC, we can prescribe progesterone. Estrogen metabolism is, of course, important too. So if there is too much estrogen, this can pose conception problems. So very common in PCOS to have high estrogen levels. However, with the proper care, the odds of conception can increase. Okay, so there's some trains of thought out there. It's like, well, if you PCOS, then you can't conceive. That is incorrect. You can. You just have to do some specific things. Balancing blood sugar, making irregular periods regular, and checking for ovulation. Libido. We can't forget about how hormones have an effect on libido. Okay, having adequate progesterone will get you in the mood, and you may have noticed no libido increases about midway through your menstrual cycle if your cycle is regular. This is your cycle right here. Ta-da! So we have estrogen coming up, and then we have progesterone that's coming up a little bit later. We have ovulation happening right in here. Okay, and then progesterone comes down, estrogen comes down, and then period happens. Yeah, libido is kind of important for conception, wouldn't you say? It's not completely like needed, but we won't go there. We can't forget to mention iron and thyroid levels. Okay, so although we won't be touching too much on these today, I just want to mention it because we have seen firsthand in my clinical experience and my wife's clinical experience, patients with these markers that are not in the right conception zone, they're missed and they result in these like infertility diagnoses and miscarriages. So these need to be screened and then corrected if anything is incorrect or out of range. Okay, so step one, how are we going to do this? Set the foundations. Okay, so in order for supplements, medications, or any medical intervention to work the best, we need foundational daily health habits to be in check. Okay, so let's talk about what some of those things could be. Bam. So we see here psychological stress reduction is like number one. Okay, and this can affect your, and then these other lifestyle pieces we need to address. Okay, so addressing stress reduction by physical activity. Okay, let's move on the daily if we can. Right, if you are someone who is able to walk around, or even if you are able to move around, you're able to move every day. So it's a matter of making the time to do it. That doesn't mean going and having to like work out in a gym. Like it'd be great if you could go and do resistance training, for sure. That's so beneficial on so many levels. But if it means going for a 10-minute walk, that's all you're going to do that day, do that, please. I can't really stress the importance of physical activity on your metabolism, okay, and on your body, but also your mental health. Like it's so important. I'd say like, yeah, no, it's so important. Drugs and alcohol, right? Alcohol, we know that alcohol is a type A class A carcinogen. It causes cancer, right? So let's limit that. And Health Canada just recently put out their new guidelines, 2 drinks a week. So here are some tips. If you're just kind of like drinking throughout the week, willy-nilly, you don't really have a pattern, I would say start a pattern. Okay, start drinking on Friday and Saturday. Saving, not building credit throughout the week, but like have your drink on Friday or have your drink on Saturday. Okay, so if you're drinking every day, and a different strategy could be choose 2 alcohol-free days. Okay, so these are just little habit changes that you can start implementing. Drugs, in regards to, I mean, if there's hard drugs in your lifestyle, we need to seek help and reduce those. If you're someone that has regular cannabis, that can have a negative impact on sperm quality. Sleep. Yeah, that's kind of important. Sleep has a very close correlation with body composition, mood, mental health, and testosterone production, and just overall stress. Okay, so if someone is not sleeping very well, we need to figure out why, help them to get to sleep. That is when we have that rest and digest time. Like our brain is recovering, our body is recovering, our digestion is happening, everything is moving properly. Okay, so if you're like, oh man, I think I'm sleeping enough, like 5.5 hours, aim for 7. Okay, so there's people that will function great on 6. There's some people that will function best on 8 or even 9. But if you can, get in bed before midnight, please. Things to nourish mitochondria. We know that mitochondria are so incredibly important for our body's ability to produce energy, but also for longevity. Right? We need to keep going, right? So let's nourish those mitochondria. Some things that you can do: get your sleep. That helps mitochondria function. Hot and colds. So ending your shower on cold is another thing. Like there's this whole cold plunge thing going on right now. It's becoming more trendy. It's not new. Got to be honest with you. Doing hot and colds is not new. We were taught hydrotherapy in school, where you're doing hot and colds, and you are making the blood vessels constrict and then dilate, and then moves blood, moves lymph. It helps to nourish our mitochondria as well. So if you're like, oh, I don't really want to do that, just try tonight, like putting a little bit of cold on for like a little bit. And if it freaks you out and you're like, oh, it just sucks, then go back to warm. But eventually try to end on cold. There's so many more things I can talk about here, but takeaways from this is, let's get some more sleep. Let's reduce the alcohol. Let's move a little bit more, and just stop smoking, please. How to eat. Okay. You know what? I'm not a big diet guy. I do not like telling people to go on the ketogenic diet or the autoimmune diet, whatever diet. I like to promote the Mediterranean style of eating. Okay, so colorful fruits and vegetables, proteins, like good sourced lean proteins every day, eating enough protein. is important. Okay, so high quality protein, 1 to 1.2 grams per kilogram. That's going to be higher for those people that are burning 3,000 plus calories per day, that are like training a lot for something. If you're wondering what this actually looks like, so for a 100 kilogram person, you would be eating 100 grams of protein. So that's about 33 grams per meal, 3 times a day. Okay. A protein shake is about 20 grams of protein. The higher one's about 30. And you got these other ones that are huge. Eggs, 6 to 8 grams per egg. Chicken, anywhere between 14 and 20, depending on the quality of the chicken. Okay. Lots of infographics online that you can find out like which ones are, what food sources are giving you great amounts of protein. Colorful fruits and vegetables, 5 to 7 servings per day. If you're wondering what that even looks like, Google that. What does 5 to 7 servings of fruits and vegetables look like? And there's great infographics. People have taken pictures of what your daily fruit and vegetables should look like. Water is your drink of choice. Just make that your drink of choice. You're thirsty, drink water. Not coffee, not pop, not alcohol, like make it water. Have those other beverages in moderation. Coffee in moderation, look at that. Coffee in moderation. I'm not one to say don't drink coffee because there's lots of great benefits to having coffee. We just have to make sure that we're not drinking too much. Okay, so how much is too much? I would say try to cap out at like 2 to 3 cups per day. If you can, none. Low to no alcohol, we talked about that, and low to no refined carbohydrates. So refined meaning things that are processed, ultra processed, like your sugars, like packaged foods. Even breads can be considered refined. If you're going to have bread, get a grainier bread, something that's a little bit more roughage in it. And then lastly, Mediterranean style of eating. There's some really great cookbooks out there that highlight Mediterranean style of eating. There's lots of great data on the Mediterranean diet that suggest improvement in metabolic syndrome, so that body composition, blood pressure, and in insulin resistance, that can all help those things. This type of eating. Just a note on protein. Honestly, I would say 95% of my patients don't eat enough protein. They're like, yeah, I eat a lot of protein. And then they start tracking it, and it's like 50% of what they should be eating. It really helps with blood sugars. It's going to help with your energy. It's going to help with like your muscle recovery, and also with hormone production. So you may have, we're going to move on, but I just want to highlight how important these things are. So repeat step 1, please, which is getting those lifestyle foundations in check: sleep, okay, movement, reducing alcohol and drugs, eating colorful vegetables, eating great quality proteins. And why? Why do we want to do that? We want to start with a solid health foundation, because any supportive supplement or treatment is going to be more effective with that foundation in place. Let's talk about specific stuff. Woo! Okay. Specific interventions, meaning herbs and nutrients. Bringing the body back into balance with the specific nutrients and herbs. Little recap on physiological goals for male fertility. We kind of touched on it at the beginning, but we need to make sure that testosterone production is at its best. Okay, we need to support testosterone production. We need to reduce unnecessary cortisol production. All right, because remember, when we have that cortisol that's being pumped out, the other pathways, they take a back seat. Okay, they don't stop; they just take a back seat. They're just not as supported. We need to reduce free radical load, okay, by reducing our intake of carcinogens, okay, smoke, drugs, alcohol, even environmental stuff can shift the free radical load in our body, because that has an effect on the sperm quality. Okay, so we need to help metabolism of estrogens and testosterone through the liver. And we need to just support mitochondria. I've said mitochondria a bunch tonight. And so if this is new to you, that's fine. Like, this is something that is going to be very important for everyone listening. Because remember, mitochondria, they're everywhere. And they are giving us the energy that we need in order to stand up. Okay, little note on low testosterone. Okay, so I can't tell you how many people, I have to say that I'm surprised by how many men are coming to me with signs of low testosterone in their 30s. It's blowing my mind. How common is it? So 40% of men aged 45 and older have low T, okay? And 25% of age 25 and older have low testosterone. That's wild. Holy smokes. Like 25%, that's 1 in 4. 40%, that's, oh my gosh, like, wait, right? Yeah, 40%. That is 4 out of 10, so 2 out of 5. It's wild to me. Since 1920, levels have been substantially dropping. Okay, so US data shows 1% decline per year, okay, for that given age group. 1% decline. 1920, this is really interesting because this is when industrialization started happening at a higher level in regards to food. Okay, why is this happening? Food and sedentary lifestyle leading to obesity, which is causing testosterone in males to go into estrogens, to translate into estrogens. Environmental toxins, right? These toxins that we're ingesting through our water, through the air, through our jobs, through cleaners, those are all getting in there, and we are trying to deal with them, which is putting the testosterone production to the back seat. Okay, so less younger men are in physical jobs. When we are physical, we produce testosterone because testosterone helps with muscle growth and muscle repair. So we have less younger men in physical jobs, less guys being active. We are sleeping less. Okay, lifestyle, we are sleeping less. We are more stressed out. Oh man, this is a huge conversation, but there are so many things that we can do to mitigate the effects of low testosterone. If you're wondering what your testosterone is, this is a conversation you can have with your doctor, and they'll run a testosterone test with you. There's a couple different ones you can run. There's a total testosterone test that is pretty cheap, gives you a good idea of where you're at. There's also a bioavailable testosterone test that you can run. It's a little bit more expensive. Tells you how much testosterone is actually available to your body at a given time. So what kind of stuff can we do to support testosterone? Here we go. Rocket T. I love the name of this, Rocket T. And I love how they have 3 rockets, boom, 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 right at the bottom. It increases free testosterone. Okay, this is awesome because free testosterone is available to our body to use. It supports libido, desire, and arousal for males suffering from age-related androgen decline. So those guys that are a little bit older, and as we age, testosterone comes down. We can't really change that. That's going to happen, but we can support testosterone production or even maintain. Okay. It reduces elevated blood lipid levels. Right, this is great. It also supports healthy glucose levels. Okay, so glucose and lipids can be connected. And we also, the KSM66 is an ashwagandha, and it improves resistance to stress and anxiety in individuals with chronic stress. This is a great combination. It just improves overall quality of life. So the KSM66, this is ashwagandha, KSM66. It's a herb. Testofen is fenugreek. It's a trademark fenugreek product. And both of these things have shown to increase testosterone. But KSM66, what I really love about this one is that it mitigates the effects of cortisol in the body. Okay. And it also helps to even out it helps to restore the diurnal cortisol rhythm, which is the normal cortisol rhythm, high in the morning, low in the evening. It's a great one. I love this one. However, the one I like even more personally is this Prime Virility product. Man, it's so good. We are looking at supporting testosterone function and mitochondrial formula. It just blows my mind. So it has this KSM66 in here, but also has the saffron in it too. And it has carnitine, CoQ10, selenium, D3, and zinc. These things all great for mitochondrial formula or mitochondrial function. We can see that it helps with resistance to stress, which is the KSM66, helps testosterone production and sperm quality. Also, it is targeting the mitochondria because of the amount of mitochondria in each sperm. So it helps the motility of that sperm and it helps it move. That's what it means. This means the sperm moving across the screen. Testosterone creates the number of sperm. All right. And then the antioxidant activity here, this helps with the sperm quality and shape. So we're getting that antioxidant activity from the selenium, D3, and zinc. 1 scoop per day for at least 3 months. Then you'll be seeing a change in the testosterone levels and the sperm health. Great one. It tastes really good too. I actually had this today when I was riding my bike this morning. Really, it was wonderful. Adrenal Pro, man, this okay. So Adrenal Pro contains herbs that are considered adaptogens. So this may be a new word to many of you, but I will explain. Okay, so an adaptogen is something that provides a normalizing effect. Okay, in other words, it's something that provides the body what it needs in order to combat any sort of stressor without causing much of a shift in normal functioning. So this was one of the first stress managing formulas I took when I was a naturopathic student, and I'm so glad that I took this one because it really got me through some tough test taking times. So I like this one because it has herbs that help by acting like cortisol, but also not cortisol, right? So it helps the herbs that reduce the negative impact of cortisol in tissues. It has herbs that help the brain focus, like rhodiola, and herbs that support the immune system in times of chronic stress, like astragalus and schizandra. There's so much more to talk about these ingredients, but I did want to highlight the vitamin B5 and the vitamin B6, because these B vitamins, they're all found up and down the hormone production pathways as cofactors. So they're helping molecule to go to each molecule and change. 1 cap twice a day. I found just don't take it after 2 o'clock. Some people find it a little bit stimulating. There's some Siberian ginseng and the rhodiola can be a little bit more stimulating. It's a good one. These are for the people that need mental pick-me-up, no doubt. Let's talk about females. So physiological goals for female fertility here. We want to help clear estrogen. We want to help produce progesterone. We want to modulate cortisol, right? Not crush it, but we want to control it. We want to reduce free radicals in the body in general. We support mitochondria and support the insulin sensitivity and blood sugar metabolism. These things have been linked to conception. First product we talk about is healthy hormones. I love this one. It has this thing called Vitex in it. And Vitex is also known as chasteberry. Really, really great for supporting progesterone levels and overall great for regulating irregular periods, making it 28 to 32 days instead of 28 days, 40 days, 60 days. Has this thing called I3C in it, and this is a wonderful for helping clear estrogen out of the liver. Also, magnesium and B6 helps with this pathway too. It has this thing called phytoproof black cohosh, and this reduces the effect of excess estrogen, like night sweats and hot flashes in menopausal women. But this doesn't have to be just used with menopausal women. It can be used with anyone that is dealing with menstrual irregularities. And PMS, which is linked to menstrual irregularities. 2 caps with food per day would be great. So adrenal chill. Oh man. So it says adrenal chill, stress and anxiety for women, but it's not necessarily made just for women. I give this to my men all the time because it has this KSM66 in it and L-theanine. Man, this is so good. You can take this all day. Doesn't matter if you take it in the evening, and you can take it as needed. It's a really rad product because it's very diverse. So as you see here, it says formulated to help those who are tired and wired. So that how many, I bet there's a lot of people just being like, man, tired and wired. That is the term that I'm trying to think of, where you're tired, but you're just pushing through and you're just running on adrenaline. This is tired and wired. Probably these people are lying in bed at nighttime trying to go to sleep, but they're thinking about all the things. So again, just a reminder, KSM66 ashwagandha helping to regulate the cortisol rhythm throughout the day, trying to bring that evening cortisol down and trying to bring that morning cortisol up. We suspect, honestly, the constituent of this KSM66 is mimicking one of the body's own stress-reducing relaxation hormones, which is GABA. That reduces cortisol. So that's how we think it's working. We're not exactly sure on that one, but we know the effects of it. L-theanine is rad because it helps like within 30 to 45 minutes of taking it. So you know it's working, and you feel it. You have this mental clarity that improves, and you have this calmness that comes over you without making you feel sleepy, right? So by itself, great nutrient for calming that brain down and providing some thought clarity before activities like presentations or exams. I did not take some today, but this is a topic that I'm like super pumped about, so I'm not too worried. So you can expect this nutrient to show its effects, like I said, in 30 to 60 minutes, and you can take it as needed. Why does it make you feel calm? So it changes it goes into your blood, goes to the brain, goes through the blood-brain barrier, and puts your brain into a more alpha wave state, opposed to a beta wave state, which is a little bit higher functioning, a higher like stress functioning, okay? So it puts you into alpha wave state. Doesn't put you to sleep though, puts you into the state of restful wakefulness. Kind of like when you're in yoga and you're like in Zen. This is a good one. 1 cap twice a day. Prime fertility. Man, this is like the female version of the prime virility. However, the ingredients are different. So what's the goal here? We want to optimize the quality of the existing eggs, because as we go along, ladies, you know this, every time ovulation happens, egg comes down. And so it is also helping. So we want to optimize the stores that are already there. Insulin and blood sugar control, this is really great because it has this myo-inositol in it. Great data on the supporting insulin sensitivity. Lots of information on PCOS and inositol. And it also encourages better egg quality and ovulation. So patients that will benefit the most from myo-inositol are those with like an androgenic PCOS picture. So androgenic meaning hair growth and abdominal fat. Has antioxidants in there like CoQ10, pyroquinolone, quinone, and N-acetylcysteine. Those are great for mitochondrial function, but also has this vitex in it, like we talked about earlier. It brings progesterone up, brings estrogen down. Oh, it also has choline and folate, but doesn't just have folate? It has methylfolate, and that means that it's already like ready to rock. We don't have to change it into a methylfolate. And it has choline, and I find like we need choline in our products, in our female products, for fetal health, guys, for healthy neural development of the neural tube. So something really I'm excited about this product because it has that choline and methylfolate and Vitex and the L-arginine and the NAC. So lots of good stuff, and it tastes really good. Man, CanPrev is doing a really great job at making these tasty products and their drinks. It's a powder. 1 scoop per day does your body good. Let's just talk about PCOS for a moment. So questions about PCOS come up often in naturopathic medicine because the concern is widely talked about online and is widely accepted. It's just like, oh yeah, you probably have PCOS, so that's it. However, the conventional ways to go about treating it are just not that helpful. Okay, like conventional ways meaning like what you see in the literature and online through your medical doctor and stuff, like they're not failing, they're helping the way they can. However, there's so many other things that we can do. Let's talk about those for a second. Before that, it has been labeled as a cause of infertility. Okay. However, we can work with the body and conception can be successful. So nutrients like inositol, chromium, berberine, all have been used to support females with PCOS, but we must not forget the importance of physical activity and diet, right? We can't forget those foundations at the beginning. We got to move. We got to eat well. These must be worked on as well. So if this is a challenge for you, I encourage you to seek out a naturopathic doctor, but also seek out like maybe even a counselor to talk about it a little bit more, and seek out like even a mindset coach to change your mindset around this. So, but like I said, naturopathic doctor who has a focus in hormones, who has a focus in PCOS is an excellent idea. So let's recap. We've learned so much stuff tonight. This is so sweet. Let's recap on what we have done. We talked about hormones, what they are, where they are, how they work. Talked about the hormone cascade. We talked about the effect of stress on hormones, that effect where that cortisol pathway becomes dominant and then the other pathways do not become dominant anymore. We talked about mitochondria and what they do and how to support those guys. We talked about how hormones and fertility, how fertility is impacted by hormones. And also what we can do to kind of optimize our hormone production and our ability to conceive through lifestyle and diet, but also specific nutrients, and highlighting those awesome products that have those nutrients that are specific to your condition. So the number one thing I'd say, two things I want to just leave you with are this. Focus on the foundations, please. See a naturopathic doctor so they can set you up with the right nutrients that you can supplement with. Don't just go and buy a bunch of stuff off the shelf. Okay, get what you need, right? So you can figure that out by doing blood tests, by doing urine tests, by just doing a physical, by doing like an intake with a naturopathic doctor. They can give you a really great idea of what you really need. So good. So much great information tonight. Kind of like drinking from a fire hose, but let's answer some questions. First of all, this is where you can find me on Instagram. I'm trying to be more active there. You can also find me at drrorygibbons.com. Send me an email at hello@virtualhealthcollective.ca. That is the company that my wife and I run. And we see lots of parents and like parents of young children and entrepreneurs. And of course, if you have questions, let's talk about them now. And you can learn more at kindofprev.ca. They have so much information on their website and their social accounts too. So I'm going to open up the Q&A box first. Let's talk about it. Oh, let's start at the beginning. What is aldosterone? Oh, that's at 4:10 p.m. I've never heard of that hormone before. Aldosterone is an important hormone that regulates our water in our blood. Water and like sodium and potassium. That's a good one. We can Google that for more information, but I just wanted to add that in there because hormones, I wanted to add in aldosterone because aldosterone is not a sex hormone, but it is a hormone. Because whenever we talk about hormones, it's like progesterone, estrogen, testosterone. Those are not the only ones in cortisol. Those are not the only ones that exist. There's other ones, and aldosterone is a really prominent one. Can you please talk about blood sugar and testosterone? Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, so there's a lot of that's a big topic for sure. So let's talk about like the extremes. And so there is a link between insulin resistance and diabetes. Insulin resistance and diabetes are different. Okay. Insulin resistance is before diabetes. There is a connection between that and low testosterone. Okay. So I don't know. No, I do know. So when you have dysregulated blood sugar, this can increase insulin. Okay. And when you increase insulin, there is a chance that testosterone molecule will go to estrone. All right. So dysregulated blood sugar increases insulin, which causes testosterone to go to estrone, which is a type of estrogen. That is the connection. How does alcohol contribute to inflammation? And is there a safe amount I can take? Sorry. I do enjoy a drink or two each day. Yeah. So how does it contribute to inflammation? Um, hmm. I would say that it contributes on a level that is similar to sugar, right? And so because alcohol is a sugar, and so it metabolizes into sugar, and then it creates an influx in insulin, which is an inflammatory driver. Is there a safe amount to take? Health Canada just put out their new regulations, which were 2 drinks per week. So right now you're having anywhere between 7 and 14 per week. And so I would say, yeah, let's try to bring that down a bit. Bring that down. Try to find days that you can go alcohol free and try different drinks. Like if you're a beer guy, like try having a bubbly instead. I know it's not the same, beer's delicious, but it's the habit that we need to shift. Teresa says some medical professionals say green tea is not a substitute for water, and some say it's okay. But yeah, oh my gosh. So this is it's such a funny conversation. And just let's say tea and coffee. Okay, so because caffeine can be a diuretic, however, it's a diuretic at a certain amount. Okay, so if you have like 2 to 3 coffees per day, it's not a diuretic effect. After that, so it counts as coffee. So after that, then it starts having a diuretic effect on the kidneys. Okay, so same thing for tea. I don't know the amounts, but this is kind of a myth. Like, I'm not saying just drink coffee and that's okay, and not have water, but let's loosen the strings a little bit here. It's not until you get a lot more coffee that will cause a diuretic effect. Craig says, what are the best ways to support our mitochondria? Is there specific foods to eat, and should I be taking a mitochondrial support supplement? Okay, so I did mention some of this in the presentation. Sleeping is very good. Eating foods that have a high antioxidant content, like colorful fruits and vegetables. Working out, specifically strength training, hot and cold showers or hot and cold baths. Okay, cold plunges have been shown to improve mitochondrial function and energy. Nutrients, CoQ10, carnitine, N-acetylcysteine, and then those products that I talked at the end, the Prime Virility is a wonderful product for mitochondrial function. And there's some other mitochondria type products on the market that are easy to find. Teresa says, would it be okay to take any of these products with medication? Yeah, I can't answer that. You need to talk to your doctor about that one, because that is a very big topic, right? Tons of different medications out there. So please talk to your doctor about that, or your naturopathic doctor, and they can advise you on which products to take with which medications or not. How does Adrenal Pro compare to Adrenal Chill? Same brand. Who should use one versus the other? Yeah, so Adrenal Pro has multiple. Adrenal Pro is for that person that is chronically stressed out and that needs a pick me up, so has low energy. Okay, Adrenal Chill is someone that is stressed out but has a higher level of energy, kind of a more of an anxious type disposition. Okay, they have different herbs in them. Adrenal Chill is KSM 66 ashwagandha and L-theanine, which is a calming amino acid. And then the Adrenal Pro has like Siberian ginseng, rhodiola, ashwagandha, astragalus, Schisandra, B6, B5. I think that's it. L-tyrosine. You go to canprev.ca, they have a great description of who should take which one. How long should each of these supplement formulas be taken? Weeks, months, ongoing. Depends on who you are, Nita. The Prime Virility, Prime Fertility research shows there that you need to take it for about 3 months in order to see changes or improvements. Is Adrenal Pro exclusively for males? Nope. Can be for anybody. I took ashwagandha. I was ready to reaction, extreme sweating, very dizzy. Do you know like it? No, I don't know what happened there. That's strange, but I'm sorry, I can't answer that one. Can you take Adrenal Chill and Adrenal Pro at the same time? I would say there's got to be a different option for you. I feel like maybe Like they're not going to interact with each other, but I don't know how much benefit you're going to get. You might need something else. Any chance to prolong REM in using the adrenal gel? Prolong like REM cycle? Prolong REM cycle. Maybe. I don't know. It would help put you into like a deeper sleep, maybe, because you're in that alpha wave state. But I'm not sure about that one. What is PCOS? I'm sorry, I did not say what PCOS is. PCOS is polycystic ovarian syndrome. Very sorry, I didn't define that. I just kind of went straight through it. So PCOS is a syndrome. This is a collection of symptoms. You don't actually need to have cystic ovaries in order to have PCOS. You need to have like androgenic features, like male pattern fat disposition and hair that might be falling out, or male pattern hair growth. And often, no, not often, all the time, usually, these women that have PCOS will have insulin resistance or diabetes, so that blood sugar dysregulation picture. This has been linked to infertility. However, if we do the right lifestyle and dietary things by balancing blood sugar and taking herbal support, to taking things to support menstrual regularity and egg quality, conception can be possible. Can the herbal supports for women also be used for menopausal women, or is there anything specific for menopausal post? I would say for menopausal and postmenopausal women, the healthy hormone product is probably the choice out of the ones that we talked about tonight. Can any of your products be used to control cortisol if you have had estrogen and breast cancer and are menopausal? That is out of my realm. Anything that has any questions that have cancer in it, I'm going to defer, and you need to go and seek counsel from your naturopathic doctor on that one, or your oncologist. This person says, I wish I could afford an ND, question mark. I don't know what that means. Check your benefits, maybe? I don't know. Chris says, I take adrenal chill. I'm on hormone therapy for menopause. Is that helpful or safe? That's fine, probably. Double check with your ND, please. Where can I find a reasonable priced ND? What would it cost approximately? I don't know what reasonable priced means. See, this is the thing. Like, we are, I don't really know how to answer that question. I would say, look in your area. Like if you come and see me and you live in Ontario, I can't see you because I only see BC residents. Same with Ontario, I believe, any regulated province, so which are all regulated, I think. So you need to find someone in your area. Go to your province association page. Mine is BC, British Columbia Naturopathic Doctor Association. What is the best supplement to balance hormones in postmenopausal women? I mean, out of the ones tonight, healthy hormones, but see your naturopathic doctor because maybe there's something else going on, right? Which supplements to help clear out or shrink fibroids? This is too specific. I need you to, like, again, revisit what I said about the health foundations, and see your naturopathic doctor to talk about shrinking fibroids, because there might be something else happening here. What if I want to increase my estrogen? Oh, that's a good question. Then you need to see your doctor and maybe get some estrogen supported. Most people, this is where we're talking like generalities here. So most people have this like estrogen high, progesterone low picture. But most people that have low estrogen will be menopausal. And so then we need to maybe supplement, or not supplement, but prescribe some estrogen. Slide number 1, what is R&D? R&D, I don't know. You can see my slide presentation. It should be posted on YouTube. I'm not gonna send out a copy of the slide presentation. I heard so much about eating for a blood type. Is the Mediterranean good for everyone? Also, how do we know if we need adrenal support? Okay, so eating for your blood type. Honestly, don't really know much about that. I didn't read the book. The guy that read the Eat Right for Your Blood Type. I haven't read that one. Mediterranean diet good for everyone? I would say probably, unless you have, unless you're celiac, please don't eat gluten, because that's included in the Mediterranean diet. Also, how do we know if we need adrenal support? Well, if you're someone that is like chronically stressed out, it's not a bad thing to have. Like, this is a great question to have, great conversation to have with your naturopathic doctor. Like, I've talked about this tonight already, about how people are dealing with chronic stress and how it can affect your hormones. And so if you are someone that is dealing with chronic stress and have levels of anxiety and depression, this is something that can be very helpful for you. Okay, coming up to the end here. Can healthy hormones and adrenal pro use together? Yeah, probably. NDs are not covered by most benefits in Ontario. I'm sorry. That's unfortunate. It's regular practice. Okay, these aren't questions. Thanks for the great webinar. Thank you, Lynn. Appreciate that. Not menopausal, but need to increase estrogen. That's not my forte, LC. Unfortunately, I can't really comment on that a whole lot just because I don't really know. I don't really work with women that often, honestly. Explain the benefit of St. John's wort. Explain ashwagandha. What does it derive from? I drink tea from Healthy Planet. All right. St. John's wort is great for depression and anxiety. It works similar to SSRIs, but do not replace SSRIs. Ashwagandha, I've explained ashwagandha already. It helps to regulate the cortisol pattern throughout the day, to name one thing, but it also helps to increase free testosterone. What's it derived from? Ashwagandha is derived from ashwagandha. It is a herb. I drink tea from Healthy Planet. Great. I like tea. I don't think I've ever had ashwagandha tea, though. There was a product that was for fetal health. Is it okay for non-pregnant women to take? I forget the name. It was called Prime Fertility. It wasn't for fetal health. The ingredient choline is for fetal health. Right? That helps the fetus, like the neural tube. It's okay for non-pregnant women. I don't see why not. My wife takes it. She's not pregnant. Of course it's okay for non-pregnant to take it. Yeah, of course. What am I talking about? It's not for pregnancy. Okay, let's just clear that up right now. That is not for pregnancy. If you're pregnant, I would say stop that one and let's take a prenatal. It is for non-pregnant women. It is for fertility, to improve your chances of becoming pregnant. So Prime Fertility is for non-pregnant people. Lily says, thank you very much. Yeah. Explain SSRI. All right, SSRI. Selective serotonin receptor inhibitors. It's a common depression medication. What about NaCl as a supplement? Needed? NaCl is a great supplement. It does a lot of stuff. Precursor to glutathione. I don't know if it's needed for you, Patricia. We can take all the supplements in the world, but if we're not doing the foundations, then what's the point? What should we be looking for when selecting a good quality green tea or MCT oil? Sorry, not relevant for tonight. Moving on to the other ones. All right, guys. We've been going for about 70 minutes. So I'm going to say, thank you so much for coming tonight, and thank you for the questions. If you have more questions, please contact CanPrev. That'd be great. And then if you want to throw me a follow on Instagram or LinkedIn or whatever, that'd be great too. It's always a pleasure. I hope I was able to give you some great information. Any feedback is welcome. I did say something about drinking from a fire hose, and it's just, there's so much great information. There's a lot of yeah, anyways, thank you so much for coming tonight. I'm going to say goodbye and have a wonderful night.